There is definitely such a thing as being too woke. We learn nothing else from Rachel Zegler, we at least will learn that being too woke is not a good thing. Okay, if you're so woke that after two major Hollywood movies, you think you can get into a legal tussle with a giant like Disney, you may just be too woke. If you think that you are so much more intelligent than all of your co-stars that are trying to color within the lines to a certain extent, so much so that you begin to talk down on your co-stars and actually cause some of them to receive death threats, you might just be too woke. Rachel Zegler, which I did not know of her until this incident where she basically ruined the Snow White movie. I don't think she did it all by herself. There's so many factors at play, but she definitely played a huge role in how people feel about the movie and not even interested or wanting to go see it. And this is how I was introduced to Rachel Zegler. I feel like this is how a lot of people got to truly know her, and that is not a good thing. You don't want your first step into the limelight to be so negative that nobody wants to look at your work. I mean, did you forget that she's an actress and she needs for people to want to view her projects for her to be successful? Now, I don't think that there's anything wrong with having your opinion and being passionate about whatever it is cause that you're fighting. What she's passionate about is very important. It's not something that should be taken lightly. There are lives at stake here at the end of the day. However, there is a time and place for everything. It appears that Rachel Zegler is trying to sue Disney for canceling some of her press tour for Snow White. And she has some other legal issues with them because they're having meetings behind the scenes and she's showing up with her attorneys, and Disney is also going the legal route, and they are they may be removing her from a lot of projects that they scheduled her for, and that is not good. For someone who's just starting out, that is not good at all. Rachel did so much during the press tour for the Snow White movie, and all of it was negative towards herself. She was, I should say, campaigning for a good cause, but the way she went about it was so arrogant and she turned off so many people. You do not draw people in by being negative. If you want to attract bees, you're going to need a lot of honey. She needs to know how to present herself in a way where people are not so annoyed by her that they don't even want to listen to what she has to say. She did a lot. She shaded the origin story of a movie that she was starring in. What sense does that make? She shaded the story itself, not just the origin, because the story started from many years ago. So, of course, it's not going to be a modern take that we currently have about certain things, about relationships and men's roles and women's roles, etc. It will not have a modern take. She shaded the story, she shaded her castmates while she portrays herself as this messiah who is so intelligent, all knowing of what the story should be. She showed the utmost disrespect for her castmates, such as Andrew. She even insinuated that Andrew's scenes may be cut. The arrogance of her to say that. She disrespected Gal Gadot, and that did not help Rachel's image, regardless of how people feel about Gal Gadot's stance on these issues that were at play here. That did not help Rachel, especially when Gal had to hire extra security because she started to get death threats. That is never okay to do to someone. I know that that was not Rachel's intention, but at some point, if you are advocating for something and you find yourself causing more harm to more people than good, do you not stop and course correct? Or do you just continue to go on not caring about how your words or actions affect anybody else? She was supposed to be promoting the movie, you know, not talking about a war. Jesus Christ, this girl. I mean, was anybody offering her any advice? Does she have any media training? I know she's new, but my God, I feel like some things are common sense. If you're paid to do a job, you do the job. And then in your free time, you can advocate and campaign and do whatever else you want to do. But there's certain things you just have to keep out of your workplace, especially if there's a lot of people that have invested their time, effort, and money into a project to see it succeed. That is not the time for you to get up and begin to run your mouth. She criticized DT supporters and, she blatantly disrespected DT. Even if you don't like the guy, listen, some people do have influence, okay? And you just have to be mindful about how you carry yourself, how you address them, especially if you, compared to them, have zero power. She's still new at this, you know? So, anyway, as far as her criticism of DT, Disney made her apologize for that, and she had to apologize a lot. And I have a feeling she's going to be apologizing for a very long time, because this thing that she has done to her career and to this movie, to people that trusted her to bring a character to life, and the way that she has caused this to fail, not solely, but she played a big role. The way she has caused it to fail is not something that can simply be swept under the rug. She's really gonna have to work her way out of this mess for many years. She can't seem to be able to watch what she says, and she is unable to keep her politically charged opinions out of her work, which is a fairy tale, not a reality. That is the most insane part of this whole thing, is that the story is a fairy tale. It's not based on someone's true life story. It is a fairy tale, which means it will not reflect reality. If anything, people watch fairy tales to remove themselves from reality. So this movie is not the place to try to have it mirror reality, because it's a fairy tale. So we cannot put all of the blame on Rachel, okay? Because Disney was trying to make a woke Snow White as well. So it's not all Rachel. The fact that they chose to cast a Hispanic Snow White already proves that. But here's the thing. The fact that Snow White was Hispanic already makes the movie more woke. I think that they should have kept the wokeness to a small percentage of the movie. I don't think that every aspect of the movie needed to be that way, because if they modernized every aspect of the movie, including the dwarves and the main character Snow White's, the evil queen, if all of that got changed as drastically as it would need to be changed for it to be more modern, then that would be an entirely different story. It would not be the Snow White movie. It would not be a remake. It would be a different story. In order for the story to remain the classic that it is, it just has to have some of the quote unquote negative portrayals and opinions that the original story has. And people just have to accept that because it is a fairy tale, it just will not mirror reality. It's really sad that someone has to tell people, adults, that reality has no place in fairy tales, and they need to keep politics out of their work, especially if they're not a politician. So I noticed that a lot of people support Rachel, so she does have a lot of supporters. However, what I want to say is this: the same people that support Rachel and the way that she went about bombing this movie that she starred in, those same people, when they're at work with their employer, they are very professional to make sure they keep their jobs, to make sure that their bills get paid. They will watch what they say. They hide their social media. They do not bring politics into work, at least not as blatantly as Rachel has done here. So even though they're supporting Rachel, this is something they would not do themselves. So if you would not do it yourself, how are you encouraging somebody else to do it at their own place of work? Because now Rachel has gone so far as almost ruining her career. I don't know how she's gonna recover from this. I think that in order for her to recover, her supporters are really going to have to come together and help her out, because a lot of people are not going to want to work with her. She has left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. She did a lot. Like, I couldn't even cover everything that she said, from all the tweets and the videos and her laughing at the fact that nobody went to watch the movie. I don't understand what she was thinking. And then the way she treated her castmates, she was just so negative the whole time. This is supposed to be a kids movie that parents, both the mother and the father, because some children are being raised by their fathers, they're supposed to be in a positive mood while going to watch this movie. It's supposed to be a fun family time kind of a thing. But if it's surrounded by such negativity as what's going on across the world with all of the politics, it's just not going to be a fun time, and people are going to want to skip it. So I'm sure she has learned a lot from this, because I saw a video where she was talking about all the mistakes that she's made. If I find it, I will post it here. But she was apologizing. She's apologized a couple of times. She's going to apologize 50 times more, and that probably will still not be enough, because she has done a lot of damage. I also heard that she was specially handpicked for this role because she brought a certain air of youth, and the same way of presenting herself that she did during the press run. She was expected to bring that into the movie, which she did. I don't think they knew that she was going to go to the extent that she did, because I think she went overboard. All of the other actors that have been acting for a long time, much longer than Rachel, and still find a way to remain professional and keep their personal opinions out of their work. Like, they're not stupid, okay? They're not so unintelligent. Rachel Zegler is not the most intelligent actress to where she feels as though she can do something that all these other guys have never thought of doing. No, they've thought of doing that. They all have their personal opinions, but you know what? They know how to remain professional if they sign a contract to work with a particular company. There's a lot of investors that go into making movies. Like, this is no joke. There's hundreds of millions of dollars at stake with some of these movies. And with her movie, this Snow White movie, they lost at least 300 million from what I heard. And it does not look like they're going to recover that. So this is bad. I almost feel bad for her, almost. But this level of lack of common sense, you can't be helped. With something like this, she's going to have to learn from experience, which she's doing that right now. And all I can say is I wish Rachel Zegler and anybody who think that they can go around being extremely loudly woke around their employers, I wish them the best. And yeah, like and subscribe. I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.